Hi friends, hope you all are fine. Friends, you all know tuberculosis is a contagious disease. If you are exposed or in contact with a tuberculosis patient, pulmonary tuberculosis patient, then you can get the infection. Patient coughs or sneezes out this bacteria, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and if you are exposed to that air, you can get the infection. Friends, today I will talk on spread of tuberculosis. How and where this pulmonary tuberculosis spread, so that you get a knowledge about that infection, how it happens, and you can take protection. Friends, let's start. A patient of pulmonary tuberculosis, especially sputum smear positive pulmonary tuberculosis, expectorates lots of bacteria in the form of droplet nuclei. Droplet nuclei I'll explain maybe in some other videos. Here I'll tell you in a simple word. When the patient coughs or sneezes, the bacteria inside the lung, that Mycobacterium tuberculosis, that will come out in the air in the form of small, tiny, you can say drops of water containing that bacteria. Patient, even when some patient talks also, this bacteria can come out, because in some patient there are millions of Mycobacterium tuberculosis in the lung when the patient is infected or having the disease, that pulmonary tuberculosis. That while coughing and sneezing, this droplet nuclei comes out in the air and they float in the air, and any person, any healthy person inhaling that air can get the infection. Now I will tell you 3 factors which will decide the spread of Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Now I will tell you 3 factors which will decide the spread of Mycobacterium tuberculosis. The first one is number of patients in a particular area. I will explain you in a very simple way. Let's take an example. Take an example of a house or a flat of 1500 square feet area where one patient is staying. That patient will cough or sneezes out bacteria. Those bacteria will be in the air, and the other family members, suppose there are 3 family members, those 3 family members inhale that air and get the infection, may get the infection. So instead of one patient, if there are 2 patients in the same area, 2 patients will expel more bacteria, and those family members, they will be exposed to more bacteria. So in a given area, if there are more number of patients, the chances are more. So number of patients is important. So the next factor is infectiousness of the patient. What does it mean? Let's take the same example of that 1500 square foot area, that house. If one person is having tuberculosis, pulmonary tuberculosis, maybe that patient is having tuberculosis for a long time, maybe 2 or 3 months or more than that, but the patient's cough and other symptoms were there, but patient did not attend any doctor, so he was not diagnosed. If that person is having tuberculosis, even the other family members, they don't know whether this patient is having. If he is having tuberculosis since 2 or 3 months, that means what? He is spreading the disease since 2 or 3 months, and he will spread the disease till he is put on treatment. Now, if a person, without knowing the infection, if a person is infectious for 3 months and another person who is infectious for maybe 6 months or more than that, that means that person who is infectious for a long time will spread the disease more, because family member, they don't know whether this patient is having infection. First. Second is, patient is not put on treatment, he is not diagnosed at all. So he is coughing and sneezing, and the bacteria is coming in the air, and other family members, they are inhaling the bacteria without knowing that. So patient's infectiousness is very important, for how long the patient is infectious. And third one is number and duration of encounters of the family member with the patient. See, usually if the patient is infectious, we doctors advise the patient to be isolated in a house. Not exact isolation, like patient can stay in a separate room, ventilated room, and other family members, they should take protection, wearing mask and all, and patient also wear mask. So these advices we give. Now, if a patient is staying in a room and other family members, like 3 other family members, they are going in the room of the patient, they are talking, having close conversation, or the patient is going outside the room and they are having breakfast, dinner or lunch in the same table, they are having close conversation without wearing mask. The more the patient will talk with them, or the more the patient family member will encounter the patient, the chances will be more, and the duration is also important. If any caretaker or any family member enter the room of the patient and give some food for maybe 30 seconds or 1 minute or 2 minutes, the patient family member is staying there, and after the work is finished, the person comes out of the room. That is one condition. In another condition, patient family member going inside the room and talking for a long time and coming in close contact with the patient, taking care of the patient. In that situation, the chances will be naturally more. The duration of the exposure will be more. So patient will inhale that air, and the family member will inhale the air and can get the infection. These are 3 factors which will decide the spread of Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Now, another 3 factors are there which will decide the infection of the susceptible individual. Like the bacteria is there inside in that house. Like we have taken the example of 1500 square foot house. The bacteria is inside that house. Whether the family member, any of them, will get the infection staying inside that house will depend on 3 factors. Now I will tell you those 3 factors. First factor is number of droplet nuclei, number of infectious nuclei in the air. Now the patient is staying in that closed space, that 1500 square foot space, and the number of bacteria coming out from his lung, they are in the air. So the more the number of infectious droplet nuclei, the chances of getting the infection will be more. Some patients who are sputum negative pulmonary tuberculosis, they won't expectorate that much bacteria, so the air will contain less amount of droplet nuclei. Some patients are having extra pulmonary tuberculosis, so they will not expectorate bacteria, that is also not infectious. But those patients who are sputum smear positive pulmonary tuberculosis, like their sputum has diagnosed pulmonary tuberculosis there, in that situation, some patients are very infectious. So in that situation, the air will contain more droplet nuclei, and the family members have more chances of getting the infection. Next is volume of air. See, in a closed space, the volume are almost same. That air doesn't circulate that much if the room is not well ventilated. In that 1500 square foot area, if that area is closed, flat or something, there the volume of air, in that similar volume of air, the droplets are there, the bacteria are there. But if it is an open space, the volume will be more. If it is a big house, or it's a bungalow, or if it is an open area, or there are also windows in the room, and there is exhaust fan, so there will be air will be circulated, and the volume of the air will be more. In that condition, naturally the bacteria, if the patient is exposed to bacteria, the bacteria will be diluted. Like the number of per square foot area of air, the number of bacteria will be less. So volume of air is important. In a closed room, in a closed space, the volume will be fixed and the patient will be expectorating bacteria, and the chances of getting the infection is more. Next is period of exposure. If a family member goes to that room, that patient's room, and talks for a long time, stays there for a long time, and patient inhales that air. So the duration of inhalation, the duration of that patient is getting that air inside the lung, that is important. So these three factors are there, that one person, even after he is exposed to that air, whether he will get the infection or not. These three factors will decide that infection inside that susceptible individual. Friends, these are a few things you must know. I thought I'll tell you these important points because we sometimes exposed to patient with tuberculosis, sometimes family members they have tuberculosis. So these are few things. If you know these things, then you can take precautions, and you can understand why this person is getting infection, or how this tuberculosis is spread in the community. Thank you for watching this video, and stay healthy.